Oh, this is that moment where we wait for the platforms to arise, to awake from their slumber and arise from their sleep. A new day is coming for all those who weep. You know what's crazy? That was a church song from when I was a kid that I randomly just remembered. Isn't that I don't like the fact that my short term is storing any of that. I don't need that. When is that information going to help me? Never. That information will never really help me. But yeah, that is a church hymn from when I was a kid. I was raised Catholic. I don't practice anything now. I'm either an atheist or an agnostic, depending on how you define those terms. But I yeah, that's a hymn. What's up, everybody? This is the patron slash Rockfin premium stream. This is where I respond directly to the patrons and what they're saying, and they send me news articles and other ideas and questions, and I respond to them. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a super chat or a Rockfin premium or a Rockfin tip, and I will get to your question. And yeah, that's what this is. This is a laid back stream. This stream goes out to everybody. It goes out on YouTube. It goes out on Rockfin. But the replay of this stream is only available on Rockfin Premium and on Patreon. And if you're catching this live and thinking, I might want to become a member, patreon.com/romplacone is how you can join up. And what all do you get? Well, you get the replay of this stream and every patron stream. You get a patron Zoom show once a week where I do a Zoom show just for the patrons. And I'll make you a theme song. Have you ever wanted your own theme song? Well, now you can get one if you're one of my patrons. You just tell me what you want in it, and I cook something up for you, and it's a lot of fun. And that's for a give what you can level. Whatever you're comfortable with, that's what it costs. I do not have any tiers, TIER, on my Patreon. It's just a straight up give what you can level. Yeah, and if times are tough and you can't really do anything like that right now, don't worry. I make all my content available for free. Even this initially is available for free. And, I try to put out as much content out there for free that I can. And if you like my videos, if you share them, if you tell a friend, if you write a review for the podcast, those are all ways you can help support this show and all the shows you know and love. That does not cost a dime, and that is infinitely appreciated. But if you got a little extra to spare and it won't hurt you and you're on stable ground, patreon.com/romplacone. Even $1 a month does go a long way. Thank you so much. You get it. All right. All right. There's a fly buzzing around here, and you might see it. Might make an appearance. The fly might hang out. It's that time of the year. It's that time of the year where the windows are open and the breeze is feeling good. And I just noticed my wife and I have not had to use air conditioning yet at all, which is great. I'm thrilled about that. And I'm wondering if we're going to be able to get through the whole summer that way. Hi, Lucy. Cheer, Lucy. Hopefully that's not her saying she's hot. I think she stays pretty cool. Whenever she's hot, I know it because she'll hang out in the bathtub a little more. Like she'll cool off there because it's like kind of damp. Or not damp, but you know what I mean, like a bathtub. You get it. She'll hang out there whenever she's hot, and she hasn't done that yet this year. For those of you who don't know, I moved a while ago at this point. I've been living in San Pedro I moved in November. So how long? It's been like 8 months. I guess it'll be a year coming up here in a little bit. Still got a while, but yeah, I've been here a hot minute. And this is our first summer. And the summer in San Pedro is a lot cooler than the summer in Pasadena. If I was still living in Pasadena, I probably would have needed my AC for the past couple months. But here in Pedro, we got a little window unit. We haven't even put it in yet because we haven't needed it. You just open up the windows for a little bit, turn on the fans, cools it off just right. You got the sea breeze. So that's nice. We'll see if I can we're hoping that we can get away with it for the whole year. Not using AC is a good thing. It's good. It's good for people, I think, and it's definitely good for the environment. So I try. Lucy, hey, she doesn't do this all that often. Check it out. Oh, you can't really see her yet, but she's on the desk. There she is. Hi, sweetie. Hello, sweetie. For anyone just tuning in, this is the patron stream where I respond directly to what the patrons leave for me and say to me. And I guess we'll go here first because, we'll go here first because I already have it queued up. But Nina, you leave this for me. You say capitalism will ruin the earth by 2050, scientists say. So this is an article from Vice. Check this out, though. I kind of looked at this really briefly. Here, let me scroll to the top. Sorry about that. Capitalism will ruin the earth by 2050, scientists say. The good news is by cutting our consumption, there's another way. So check this out. A spate of new scientific research starkly lays out the choice humankind faces in the coming decades. By 2050, we could retain high levels of GDP. Oh, great! Capitalism, baby. At the price of a world racked by minerals and material shortages, catastrophic climate change, and a stuttering clean energy transition, paving the way for a slowly crumbling civilization. Oh, but we get a high GDP. We have a really high GDP, so some really rich people are getting richer. And all it's costing us is minerals and material shortages, catastrophic climate change, and slowly crumbling civilization. That's all. But GDP's high. Here in California, we have the 5th highest GDP in the world. And you know what we don't have? We don't have healthcare. We don't have actual climate action, meaningful climate action. We don't have a ban on fracking. We don't have living wages for the most part, although we do better than a lot of other states, but we still have a long way to go. We have a housing crisis no one's doing anything about. We have decaying standards of living for everybody. We have fires that are going on all the time. We don't have a high-speed rail. We don't have quality broadband infrastructure. They might be changing that soon, fingers crossed. We don't have any of those things, but we have the 5th highest GDP in the world. GDP doesn't mean shit as far as people's quality of life is concerned. GDP only means something to really, really rich and powerful people who are winning in this insanely corrupt system. But anyway, here's the other choice. Or there's another choice, folks. We could ditch the GDP fetish, consider it ditched, and enter a world of abundance with energy consumption safely contained within planetary boundaries and high-tech economies that support jobs, health, and education for everyone without costing the earth. On the first option, scientists backed by the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program have concluded that capitalism as we know it. Let me make a small alteration there. Capitalism. I am so fucking sick. So capitalism cannot support a successful clean energy transition. Not only that, but capitalism is on track to lead the world into mineral shortages. And this is a new study published in the Journal of Energy Strategy Reviews. If we electrify our cars, trucks, and trains so that they run on renewable energy, and it's only viable if we reduce the endlessly growing levels of consumption in industrial societies, that effectively means fundamentally transforming the very sinews of capitalism. The good news is that separate research published in September proves that such an economic transformation is perfectly feasible while still maintaining a good quality of life for people all over the world. So if we really put all of our energy into being stewards to the earth and coming up with transportation solutions, which we can do, I know that part of the change means we're going to have to go local a little bit. Yes, but that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to go anywhere. There's going to be new sustainable solutions. You really think we're just going to live primitively and go on horseback? That's not going to freaking happen. There is going to be energy solutions, logistic solutions that are long-term and sustainable. We're already starting to get there. Electric cars, already clearly a step in a much better direction. And we can do this. Scientists are confirming we can do this. But it's not just capitalism as we know it. It's freaking capitalism. I am so sick of people sugarcoating what capitalism really is. And I know that it's years and years and years of brainwashing that leads to that. I've even been guilty of doing that myself over the years. 4 years ago, I did that kind of shit. I'm like, well, it's predatory capitalism. No, it's capitalism. It does the same shit every time it's tried. And people like to put a bow on it and polish the turd that it is because there's a lot of things that are good things that we associate with capitalism that aren't really capitalism. It's human nature. Like, oh, the desire to innovate, the desire to contribute to the world, the desire to work hard at something you're passionate about. That's not capitalism. That's just human nature. Humans would still do that kind of thing, and there's all kind of other economic models where they can still do that. In fact, it's freaking easier because there's a better quality of life for people and a better social safety net for people. So all of those factors that I just mentioned has nothing to do with capitalism, but we've been brainwashed to think that it does. So for years, we have to unlearn attributing those things to capitalism. A marketplace of goods and services can't exist without capitalism. That is false. That is 110% false. There's even a type of socialism called, wait for it, market socialism. The difference is you can still have people starting their own restaurants, people starting their own businesses, people doing creative things with their lives. You still have all that outside of capitalism. The difference is resources are more collectively owned and they're not privately owned. And there's worker co ops and there's more of a social safety net for everybody. It's not capitalistic. That's the difference. But all those things still happen. So stop sugarcoating what capitalism is. It's terrible. And it cannot be tweaked, it cannot be saved, nor is it worth tweaking or saving. If capitalism was a car, it would break down every 2,600 miles. So there you go. Yeah, so it's not capitalism as we know it. It's capitalism. And it's killing the planet. It's killing us and it's killing the planet. It's killing us more than it's killing the planet. Because guess what? The planet's going to be able to shake us off like a fucking ant. That's what's going to happen. And then eventually the planet will just be fine again. It'll shake us off like a freaking bug. And then eventually, oh, Lucy's playing it. Did you hear that? What did she see in there? Speaking of a bug, I wonder if she saw a fly. Lucy just dove into a freaking tote bag and she was like digging for something in it. And now she just climbed out. You meant to do that, right? You didn't hurt yourself, did you? No, she's fine. Come here. Lucy's really all over the place today. Sorry if it's distracting. But as some of you may already know, one time Lucy not too long ago hurt herself on a jump. And I didn't sleep for a while and panicked. And honestly, it was probably worse for my health than hers, really, in the long run, because I freaked the fuck out and I panicked. And whenever she did anything that wasn't totally in the ordinary, I panicked and I texted my wife in a panic. And I'm like, everything's wrong. I don't know what to do. And of course, she was fine. You know, she healed up, and you know, she was just kind of limping a little bit, but she's totally back to normal now. And I got her some pain meds, and the vet took a look at her. And but yeah, so whenever there's a loud noise, I have to make sure she did it on purpose. You know, she's not a young cat. She turned 15 last month. So you I know I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you on the internet, Lucy. You have a couple TV credits. Lucy's been on TV a few times. She's been on Crosstalk. I think she's had about 2 or 3 appearances there. Honestly, I think they like her more than they like me. They always ask about it. Every time I do Crosstalk, one of the producers and Peter Lavelle himself, they always ask about Lucy. They're like, "Is Lucy going to be making an appearance?" And I'm like, "She might." I mean, I don't get to determine that. She makes that call, right, Luce? I know, sweetie. Yeah, and here, let me go more in this so you can see her. The microphone's blocking her. She's been really playful this morning. Yeah. And she's been running around, and then she'll just kind of want attention, like you see right now. But anyway, uh, what was I talking about? Yeah, climate. So I'll be honest with you guys. When I see articles like this, I see the optimism part of it. I really do. Like, we still have a choice. There's a choice. Let me reread these paragraphs because I think it's really important. By 2050, we could retain high levels of GDP. Oh, goody. At the price of a world racked by minerals and material shortages, catastrophic climate change, stuttering clean energy transition, paving the way for a slowly crumbling civilization. Or we could just ditch the GDP fetish, meaning not capitalism, by the way. That's what that means. Capitalism means pursuit of profit above all else, private ownership, and the people with all the money make the rules. That's what capitalism is. If anyone tries to sugarcoat it, they're bullshitting you. That is exactly what it is, what I just described. Private ownership, profit above all else. Ditching the GDP fetish, you don't have capitalism anymore. And people who are like, well, it's a combination of capitalism and socialism. No, it isn't. Because their social safety net comes frickin' first. Just because they have a marketplace of goods and services doesn't necessarily mean it's capitalism. I know we're programmed to believe that's not the case, but it isn't. Just because Joe Schmo can start a restaurant and they're in possession of the resources to do that, that doesn't necessarily mean it's capitalism. And if Joe Schmo starts a pizza restaurant or a Thai restaurant and their food sucks and nobody goes there, well, eventually they're going to close because their food sucked and no one went there. That's not just capitalism. Well, if they have to sell food to survive, that's capitalism. Well, no, not necessarily, because these are collectively owned resources. There's a worker co-op. They exist so that they can sustain themselves, not so that the finance books at the restaurant always look great or not great. If everyone's taken care of, they're succeeding. If everyone's not taken care of, they're not. And if they're not taken care of because their food sucks, well, that's just the way it goes. But that's not necessarily capitalism. It doesn't have to be. So we could ditch the GDP fetish, which means bye-bye capitalism, bye-bye, and enter a world of abundance with energy consumption safely contained within planetary boundaries, high-tech economies that support jobs, health, and education for everyone without costing the earth. That's the choice we have. I'm all aboard for choice B. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Are any of you obsessed with your GDP porn? That's what we should call it. You know what? I want to do that. Let's start calling it that. Let's start calling it GDP porn. And that's, you know what? I do not fetish shame. I really don't. I think whatever you're into, as long as you're not harming anybody else, go for it. That's, whatever you're into, as long as you're not harming anybody else and as long as you're with fellow consenting adults, do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do with another person or group of people, as long as everyone's consenting, as long as everyone's on board, do you. I'm not here to shame you. But the one fetish shame I will, GDP fetish. I will shame that fetish. I will shame that fetish till Ron, you're fetish shaming. Yes, I am. When it comes to GDP fetish, I am shaming that. And a capitalism fetish. I'm shaming that fetish too. That's a fetish that deserves to be shamed. So, every rule's got its exception. You know why? Because GDP, it's an inanimate thing. It can't consent to your fetish. It can't consent to that. You're fetishizing GDP, and GDP can't consent to that. So, you see the difference. You see the difference. Yeah, you get the idea. I think that's what we got to do. GDP fetish. All right. So I don't know how we went from climate change to talking about fetishes. Well, I do know how, but we got there. Thank you for that, Nina. Thank you very much. And then you bring up a second article that also supports that by 2050, that's the big number. I feel you. So it's cool that Lucy is on my lap right now Because Nina, you share this. A new NASA spacecraft named Lucy will carry messages of peace and love from the Beatles, among other quotations, in a time capsule for future generations. The unmanned mission to study distant asteroids near Jupiter launches. Wait, let me see when it launches. It launches in October. So let's take a look at this. NASA Lucy spacecraft design, launch date, mission details, time capsule, plaque to feature the Beatles. Look, and again, folks, do I think it's adorable that there's a spacecraft named after my cat? Well, it's not named after my, but same name as my cat. Of course, that's wonderful. What a great name, huh, Luce? She's chilling. You can't really see her all the time because she's on my lap, but she's chilling right now. So that's sweet. And a time capsule with the Beatles music, that's sweet too, sure. But again, all the resources it takes to go to space, can't we just focus on fixing Earth first? I really love the idea of space exploration. Of course, I'm not against exploring space. Of course, I'm of the belief there's got to be civilizations more advanced than us out there. I feel like there's got to be. I don't know for sure that there is, but I believe that there is. I just feel like the infinite sea of planets. We're the most advanced. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. There's definitely more intelligent life out there. There's got to be. Whether or not they're more advanced than us, we don't know that, but I'd like to believe there is. I really do. But man, we really got a lot of work ahead of us here on Earth. And again, we have a choice. We have a choice. We don't have to have a declining society by 2050. We could have an abundant one. We could have one that is sustainable. One that where we are better stewards to the earth. We're probably not going to be perfect stewards to the earth. I don't think that's possible, but we can be a hell of a lot better. Where we're existing in harmony. And people have good quality of life, better quality of life than we have now. We have the choice to do that. We have the choice. It's not over. And anyone who wants to black pill or whatever that's called, like where it's like, oh no, we're screwed. We're all, it's over. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's not over. We have a fucking choice. But the billionaires would rather just have a measuring contest to get into space, which, man, wasn't that hysterical, by the way? Bezos and Elon Musk were measuring, like, my rocket looks more like a penis. No, my rocket looks more like a penis. And then Richard Branson just comes on in and he's like, I'm going to get there first. He's Australian, right? Anyway, but then there goes Richard Branson. What if we just, whoever holds their ear, just says, look, we as a society collectively decided that whichever one of you does the most to help with climate change and gives the most money to help with climate change has the biggest dick. We've all gotten together as a society. Elon, Bezos, Musk, or excuse me, Elon is my Richard Branson. Instead of having your little space race here, we've all decided whichever one of you does the most for climate change has the biggest dick. We've all decided. How do we know for sure? But just trust us as a society, even if it's not true. Maybe Elon has a micro penis. Who knows? I don't know. I don't care. Maybe Bezos does. No idea. Maybe Branson does. Maybe none of them do. Maybe all of them are hung like Tommy Lee. Who knows? I don't really care. But regardless of any photographic proof they share with the world, we will just say, look, you 3 billionaire assholes, as a society, we have decided whichever one of you does the most for climate change just has the biggest dick. We've decided, and we will crown you. We will crown you biggest dick in the planet. We will crown you. We will give you the big dick crown. You can have it forever. Just do the most to help climate change. Because at the end of the day, that's all they care about. That's all this is about. This is about them trying to outdo each other because they're billionaires. They don't have real problems. So this is just about their ego, and they're sociopaths. That's how they got to become billionaires in the first place. So just, hey, whichever one of you does the most for climate change, we will be in option B category big time if we somehow pull that off. That's all it takes. Just convince them you will have the biggest dick in the world. Just do the most for climate change. Biggest dick, you. Forget the Lucy spacecraft. She looked at me when I said Lucy. I don't care about a Lucy spacecraft. I care about this Lucy. This is the Lucy I care about. Right here. This is my Lucy. This is the Lucy who matters. Not some spaceship. I'm all about exploring space, but let's fix Earth first. Let's do that. And then we can explore space because, if we discover other civilizations, we'll actually have something to be proud of. It'd be cool if we could be proud of the society we're showing them. Instead of being like, yeah, we have a society where we do endless war and we're exploiting the planet and we're digging for oil instead of getting off of fossil fuels, and we have fires and droughts and hurricanes and well, I guess hurricanes you're always kind of going to have those, but you get the idea. Earthquakes more than we should. Yeah, floods. How about we fix things up on Earth first? How about we make that choice to have the abundant society, to have the new sustainable society, instead of staying on the path we're on now? Right, Lucy? Lucy's on board. You're so sweet, Lucy. Oh, hang on. She's got my shirt. She's got my shirt. Sorry, she was tangled up in the headphones there too. So thank you for sharing all that, Nina. Very much appreciated. And Edwin, this is the greatest. Here's Edwin's question. Y'all ready for this? Edwin wants to know, Ron, Edwin just asked a question here, and he wants to know, do you have any Italian recipes you made recently that you can share with us? Thank you. Thank you for that question. And I really wish the answer was yes. I really do. I feel like I've been a little stagnant in the culinary department. I feel like there was something new that I made. It wasn't necessarily Italian, but there was something recent that I made where I was like, "Oh, I did a good job." Oh, I make some mean fries. I know that's kind of like, wow, who can't? But I make some mean French fries, and I just started doing it. And I'd like to say there's a bit of a science to it. You have to have the right amount of oil. You can't overdo it. And my secret with fries is, first of all, like you coat the pan in vegetable oil, and you kind of make a little pool of it. Like don't be shy with it. And then, you get some good potatoes. My farmer's market, they have a wonderful potato stand. I get my potatoes there, and you cut them up, and cut them up however you like, however thick or thin you like them. And I use basil and oregano, which is a little, like, you don't see that all the time. A little bit of garlic salt and pepper, and maybe a little bit of seasonal too, if you got some of that. And then you just do them up in the oven for about 20 to 40 minutes, depending on like the setting, and you just kind of check them. My oven, usually I do about 20 minutes at about 425. Typically, that's how I do them. And once they're the right texture, you kind of test them out. You take them out, let them cool for a bit, and enjoy. And I'm pretty proud of some of the fries I've been making as of recent. And one of my favorite things to have with fries is steak sauce. And I don't know why they call steak sauce. I don't know why they don't just call it really good freaking sauce that goes great on a bunch of things. Like why does steak get the gold medal there? Like why does, like, you can put that on so many different things and it's amazing. Like steak sauce is basically just like vinegar and seasonings and stuff like that. And I don't like ketchup. So I'm always looking for alternatives to ketchup. I don't enjoy ketchup. What happened for me was I saw that movie Super Size Me, that documentary about the guy who ate nothing but McDonald's. And what he did, I never really loved ketchup. Like I would use it because it's like, it's just, you're used to that. Like it's just always around. But I saw Super Size Me, and at one point in that movie, the guy just reads all the ingredients that are actually in ketchup. He just sits there and just reads it. And then he eats like a super value meal or whatever the hell it was, and he doesn't hold it down. He throws it up. And ever since then, I've not been able to eat ketchup, and that was years. I mean, I saw that movie when I was in college because that's around when it came out, and I've not been able to eat ketchup since then. So I don't like ketchup. So I'm always looking for alternatives, and I put steak sauce on like so I put it on vegetables. I put it on my fries. I mean, it's like my favorite thing to have with fries is either steak sauce or barbecue sauce. Um, and I know that ketchup is in barbecue sauce. I know that. I know that. I know it's weird. And my wife points this out all the time. She's like, you have no problem with barbecue sauce. And I'm like, I know, but I just don't like ketchup. But I'm fine with barbecue sauce. And anyway, so and I do put a little vinegar when I'm cooking the fries too. I forgot to mention that. I do a little bit of vinegar when I'm making the fries. Not an Italian recipe or even a recipe at all, but that's something I've done as of recent. As far as Italian recipes go, I have become a little stagnant, and I need to reinvest in flexing my culinary muscle. But I'll give you some general tips, and maybe this helps for a killer pasta dish. If you're making like a white sauce, like an oil-based sauce, here's a few tips that'll really kind of take something up to 11 if you get my drift. Um, and these are some like off the beaten path secrets. First of all, this is an obvious one, but I think something a lot of people overlook, myself included. Salt. Don't be afraid of salt. Salt is your freaking friend. Salt is good. I mean, well, too much of it is bad, but when you're cooking and you're making a delicious sauce, do not be afraid of salt. Salt, salt, salt. Also garlic. Garlic is garlic. And I used to use mince when I'm just kind of cooking casually at home, but it's so worth it to just get the fresh stuff. And I'll be honest, I'm not as militant as some about the fresh stuff. Like I'll use a garlic press. I know that most chefs would scoff at that, and I get it. You got to cut it up. It's the way to do it. But I use a press. It's just so much easier, and I never claimed to be a chef, so I'm cool with presses. Um, so there you go. I get it if you're not. No judgment here. But I'm not. I'm not that cool. I guess I'm just not that cool. So yeah, salt is good for seasoning. Of course, don't overdo it. It's not too much of it is not good for you. It's bad for your blood pressure. But you get it. And some other secrets. Uh, Pine nuts, especially if you're making a pesto. If you're making a pesto pasta, which I've made some homemade pesto before. It's turned out pretty good, but it's something I'm still working at. Every time I've made a pesto, I was disappointed with how citrusy it turned out, and I got to work on that. It was like too lemony every time I made it. But pesto is a great sauce to make, especially because you can really use a lot of different things that are you're kind of making the most of the crop. I'll give you an example. The tops of your carrots, you can use those to make pesto. You take the tops of your carrots. Now, sometimes I just straight up compost them. I buy my carrots from a community garden in San Pedro where I live, and sometimes I'll just behead the carrots with them, like before I buy them, because I know that they'll just compost that. But sometimes, if I'm going to use it I don't do my own composting. I take it to other people. But if I'm going to use it for pesto, I'll just keep it and I'll use it for pesto. And you take it, you wash it off, and then you just put it in a food processor, and you can make that can be a base for pesto, and it tastes very good. Um, but the big secret for pesto, pine nuts. Put some pine nuts up in your pesto. You will not regret it. Another thing that really works in kind of a brown based sauce or an oil based sauce or even a red sauce. And this is something a lot of people don't do, but this is a special treat. Now, you don't want to do too much of this or it's going to be overbearing, but you just put a little bit in. Pomegranate seeds. What? That may have sounded weird to you just now. You may be like, whoa, really? Trust me. Pomegranate seeds. Next time you're making a good aiolio or even a good red sauce or even a good like brown based sauce, like if you're making like a stroganoff even or something like that, throw in a couple pomegranate seeds and let me know what it did for you. I have a feeling you're gonna dig it. That's another best kept secret. Pomegranate seeds. All right. The other fun tip that I got. Uh olive tapenade. Oh boy, olive tapenade. But you gotta be careful because every time I've really dove into olive tapenade, I've overdone it, and I will get a sauce that is too olivey. Now, I know you might be thinking there's no such thing if you love olives as much as I do, which I do love olives very much, but it was just too much. It was just too much. Like it, I don't know how to explain it, but it just tasted. It tasted like I was just eating plain spaghetti and then there were olives like on the side, which is okay, but it didn't work with what I was going for. So so yeah, olive tapenade. But use it sparingly. Don't overdo it and mash it up good and blend it if you can. Put it either make the tapenade yourself or, get it pre-made. Um and blend it up with some spices, with some herbs, with some peppers. Make sure you got some peppers in there too, and then cook that up over whatever your favorite pasta is. But yeah, so those are my big tips as far as sauce making goes. For pesto, tops of carrots, pine nuts. For other types of sauces, pomegranate seeds, best kept secret, olive tapenade based sauces. And if you eat seafood or are willing to eat seafood at times, anchovy paste. Use anchovy paste as a base. You are going to have a delicious pasta dish on your hand, but you have to season it well. Otherwise, it'll be a little too fishy. So, yeah, there you go. Um, all right. So those are my tips. And as far as actual dishes, I'll try to do another. I know that I shared my basil fried rice recipe with everybody, which I am proud of that recipe. I've been working on it a long time. I'll share another recipe soon. Um, my peas and prosciutto is a dish that I'm very proud of. Which, of course, there are vegan versions of this dish. There are also different protein substitutes versions of this dish. You can make it however you choose to. But that's a dish that I'm pretty proud of that I've been working on a long time. It's not an original dish. I mean, I didn't invent that dish, but it's a dish that I've done my own variation of that I'd like to think is pretty decent. But yeah. So there you go. I'll try to do another recipe soon. Let me go to the chat and see what everyone else is saying. Um, Oh man, I got another one of these. All right, so I'm gonna start with Rockfin. Alexander, what's up? You gave me another one of these. I love these things. All right, here we go. You ready for this? Here's Alex. Alexander gives me three artists that have similar names, and then I pick one. I love this game. Thank you for this, Alexander. Iron Maiden, Iron Butterfly, or Iron and Wine. I gotta go Iron and Wine. I enjoy Iron and Wine's music the most out of those three. And I'm not a huge Iron and Wine connoisseur. Like I don't know as much about them, but I'm not an Iron Butterfly or Iron Maiden connoisseur either. Um, so I'm gonna have to go Iron and Wine. Um, Iron Maiden, I can't get into that much. I appreciate that music for what it is. I appreciate the musicianship. I appreciate the genre. I appreciate what it inspired that came next. There's a lot of music that I enjoy that has a very heavy influence and gives a very heavy nod to that type of metal. But as a listener, it's just not quite my cup of tea. I'm not the type of guy that would be like, oh, I'm going to put on an Iron Maiden album. I appreciate it. I respect it. I'm just more of a punk guy. That's just my personal preference. I like some metal. I like Motorhead, and who doesn't like Motorhead? No, nobody dislikes Motor. I've actually never met a person who dislikes Motorhead. I'm sure it exists. I'm sure it exists, but I've never met a person who. No, I mean maybe some people if they've never heard Motorhead or they're just not into music, sure. But as far as people who are into music, I've never heard anyone be like, "Fuck Motorhead." I've just never heard that. Um, so I like Motorhead, but and I got to see them right before Lemmy died. I saw them. I think it was about a year before Lemmy died. He got on stage and he just goes, "We're Motorhead. We play rock and roll. Hope that's okay." And then they just tore the roof off the freaking place. Anyway, so yeah, I got to go Iron Wine out of those three. Iron Butterfly, I'm just not all that familiar with. Iron Wine, got to go Iron and Wine. But thank you for that one. That's a fun one. I appreciate that, Alexandra. Thank you very much, and thank you for the Rockfin tip. PM Peterson, what's up? Thank you very much for the tip over here on the Rockfin. I appreciate it very much. You help keep the show on the air, and of course, Alexandra, thank you as well. I love this game. You know it. Let's see what's going on over at the YouTube. Lucky Burrito, what's up? I hope all is well up north where you are, and I hope to see you when we go on tour. I know you're up in the northeast, so we might not see you until 2022. And I'll announce tour dates here in a minute. But yeah. But I hope to see you. If not this year, definitely in 2022. Because we're gonna hit the northeast. I mean, we're coming to some of the northeast this year. We're coming to New York City, we're coming to Philadelphia, but Boston and Burlington, Vermont, and Portland, Maine, we're going to see in 2022 because we wanted to tie some Canadian dates with y'all. And as of right now, things are still awkward with the border at Canada. And by awkward, I just mean they're not letting anyone who's not essential personnel up there. So entertainers can't go to Canada right now. That will probably change soon, but you know, it's not going to change right away. So there you go. Right on. So we'll be there in 2022. But let's see. Some of you guys are saying I should listen to Iron Butterfly. Yeah, I'm just not familiar. I've just not. I'm sure they're good. I've just not taken the dive into them. I need to do it. So I guess Iron Butterfly. I can't. I'm not really. I mean, I'm sure I've heard some stuff here and there, and I'm just not like I just haven't absorbed it. But yeah. Anyway, so let me see here. And anyway, Lucky Burrito, you say General Strike October 15th. Oh, wow. Octoberstrike.com. I'll have to check that out. I'm not familiar with this. And you say, finally, I'll have to check it out. General Strike October 15th. I'll have to look into that. We need a General Strike. I'm for a General Strike. I don't see any other way around starting to see the systemic change we need without a General Strike. I just think it's 110% necessary. We don't have a choice. Respinato, how are you? Thank you very much for the super chat contribution. You say life during wartime, Talking Heads still relevant. Oh, hell yeah. I love the Talking Heads. Love the Talking Heads. And yeah, their music is certainly still relevant. They stood the test of time and continue to. David Byrne, I really want to see him in St. Vincent. I hope they continue touring together, or they start it back up. But man, yeah, I've never seen David Byrne live, never seen the Talking Heads live, and that's over the past 5 years or so, a lot of people have left us, and that includes Lemmy. Lemmy left us recently. Lemmy from Motorhead. Now I did get to see Motorhead before Lemmy died, and I got to see Iggy Pop too. But there's a lot of stuff that I really missed. I never got to see Prince before he died. I never got to see Leonard Cohen. I never got to see this one hurts. Never got to see David Bowie. Ouch. Yeah, never got to see Bowie. So there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of people we lost recently where it's like, man, I never got to see them. I did get to see Tom Petty. I got to see Tom Petty a couple times. But yeah, David Byrne's one of those people. I really want to see him. And he seems like the kind of guy who could retire. Like I could picture David Byrne just being like, I'm done with touring, I'm done with performing, and I'm just gonna operate like an art gallery. You know what I mean? Like I picture him doing that. And so I really want to see David Byrne before before I don't have another chance to see him. But thank you for that, Respinato. Thank you for that lucky burrito. Thank you for the super chat contributions. And PM Peterson, Alexander, thank you over on the Rockfin. And Aspen Fallen, how are you? Good to see you. Can't wait to see you and Graham in Minneapolis. Yes! Just bought my tickets. That is so awesome. Can't wait to see you in Minneapolis. And thank you very much for the Rockfin tip and for supporting this show. I appreciate it so very much. And I guess I'll rattle that off now, folks. Tour dates are available now at romplacone.com. Grab those tickets. Where all are we going? We are going to a lot of places. Let me start rattling them off for you. San Francisco, Sacramento, Tempe, Tucson, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York City, Washington, D.C., Asheville, North Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida, Gainesville, Florida, Orlando, Miami, Tampa, Atlanta. Tickets will be available soon. Hold tight, but we will be in Atlanta. That show's going to be on October 21st. Nashville, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, Indianapolis, Chicago, Minneapolis, Madison, Wisconsin. Get your tickets now at romplacone.com. We are touring pretty hard, folks. And some of the Northwest, Portland, Seattle, we will see in 2022 because we want to go up to Vancouver and Boston and Portland, Maine, and Burlington, Vermont. We will see you in 2022 because we want to go up to Montreal and Toronto. So we'll be doing some northern U.S. and Canada dates in 2022. So yeah, we will see you all very soon. Romplacone.com for all the tickets that are available now, and all those other cities I mentioned. We are going there in this year, 2021. Yeah. So there you go. Thank you very much, Lucky Burrito. Thank you very much, Arspinato. Thank you very much, Aspen Fallen. Thank you very much, PM Peterson and Alexander Durnan. Thank you for your Rockfin tips and super chat contributions. You help keep the show on the air. And of course, Nina and Edwin, thank you very much for this week's topics. Without you, none of this would be possible. This is the Patrons and Rockfin Premium stream, where I respond directly to the Rockfin Premium members and the patrons. Now, this stream goes out to everybody. It goes out to everyone, but the replay is only available on Patreon and Rockfin Premium. That's where the replay is available. And I have one more thing to mention before we sign off here. Shout out to the March for Medicare for All, which is happening on July 24th in a bunch of cities. I'll be at the one in Los Angeles. And again, that's on July 24th. But shout out to them. They sent me, here, let me get it. They sent me a bunch of swag. Check this out. They sent me a yellow vest. This is the second yellow vest that I have. I'll be wearing this on the 24th. Thank you for this. They also sent me a t-shirt. And you can go to their website. It's M4M, the number 4, M4M4all.org. You can see that here. And also, I really appreciate this, y'all. They sent me Stephanie Kelton's book, The Deficit Myth. I've read this book already, but now I have a physical copy, so I can loan it out to other people, which I will do. And I can also revisit certain things and reference it. And this is a good book to have to be able to reference. I do recommend that book very highly. It teaches about modern monetary theory and just, the strategy and ideas behind it. And she really breaks it down in a way that is very accessible to someone, even if you've never heard of MMT before. And she also breaks down a lot of myths. She really, confronts a lot of the myths around not just modern monetary theory, but around our society in general and in money in general. And it's a very good book. I highly recommend it. So pick up that book, folks. And thank you very much for the swag, the Medicare for All folks. And I look forward to July 24th. And if you'll be in Los Angeles and you'll be at that march, come say hi. I'll be there. I will see you there. And I'm very much looking forward to it. And so once again, thank you, Lucky Burrito. Thank you, Arspinato. Thank you, Aspen Fallen. Thank you, PM Peterson. Thank you, Alexander Durnan. Thank you for your tips and super chat contributions. And thank you, Edwin and Nina, for this week's topics. If you want to become a patron, if you're catching this live now and you're thinking, I want to become a patron, I want to see the replay of this stream and all other patron streams, and I want my own theme song, and I want to see a Zoom show every week, and I can do all that for a give what you can level, sign me up. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. Even $1 a month goes a long way. And again, my Patreon is pay what you can. Whatever you are comfortable giving, that is what the Patreon costs, and everyone gets all the same things. All right, folks. It's I guess it's very socialist in nature in many ways. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for being here. Also, I announced this yesterday, but I'll mention it again today. We're going to be on a break next week. I'm not going to be streaming next week. The reason for that is my parents are coming to visit. So next week's going to be a little quiet on all fronts. I won't be streaming much, if at all. There will not be regular Get Your News On with Ron streams, but we will be back the following week. But next week, taking a little break, going to spend some time with my folks, and I'm looking forward to showing them around. And yeah, I'll probably be popping in here and there for various things when I got the time, but there will not be regular Get Your News On with Ron streams next week. We'll be back the following week. And in the meantime, y'all know the drill. Lucy, she's asleep on a cat tree. She wore herself out, but she says meow, and I say peace, and I say tour dates available now at ronplacone.com. We're coming to your city. Go grab those tickets. And I say general strike. And I say mutual aid. And I say Medicare for all now. And I say peace.